Hello folks, and welcome to today's vlog, which today I'm gonna speak about motivational thoughts and where I'm at. Basically, this could basically help anybody out, but this is just kind of motivational thoughts. I'm going to put this on my other podcast. I'm going to put this on all other bits and pieces that I'm working on, but motivational thoughts in general. So next, this is a notice actually. Don't see this as a creational thought, because I'll come to that in a second. So not next month, hang on, where are we? February. I'm waiting till we get till after Shrove Tuesday. No, after Easter. After Easter, we'll do Easter, and then we're gonna do, I said a month, but I think I might do 2 months of Slim Fast drinks. So hear me out on this. This is not a crash diet. I just want to do 2 months sponsored for the Stepping Stones group. I'll put it in the description. # Stepping Stones group. This is a group that it's a community group actually. You may have heard of it. I'm a valuable member of the group, and they do art and craft on a Tuesday. They do days out on a Thursday. This would heavily fund the group and help myself as well. So, anyways, so today's creational thoughts are: do you ever feel like, I don't know, you do a project and then you just feel like, I don't know, you want to turn things around a bit? I mean, I had a building business. I'm actually reopening the building business as of this year with my imaginary friend Charles. And I found out that the finances that we had from builders' offices, there's going to be a full-blown report that we're doing in audio, visual. But when we started that business a long time ago in Arnside Road, I'm not going to give you the number because there might be somebody living there this very day. It's a very real address, so we're not going to give it out. But for those of you in that neighbourhood that I kind of feel ashamed with the stuff that happened there and sort of were a bit let down, so we couldn't really have much community spirit, and that was not our fault. So we do apologise for that. But talking in finances, and we are going to do a pretend and play office video where we show you the back end side of the business and show you kind of, a mind and mob kind of thing and what we do, and sort of, show all that kind of stuff out. But to be kind of crude, we didn't have any help with investments. Now, we had a friend across the road we pretended that there was a bank there. Up until he died, the company was doing really well for like 2 or 3 years. But then that went, didn't it? When someone dies and you lose that part, and you lose a valuable member in the community, so everything goes and that. But my step-granddad, Jack, didn't help with it. He gave us the office, he gave us a desk, he gave us phones, but the thing that he didn't give us was money. A business needs to thrive on money. So that came from my nan, ladies and gentlemen. So I applaud my nan for it. And then we got help from one of our members of staff. Managed to get he was an outsider, but then worked for the company a bit later on. Managed to get, because he was in the farming industry, and managed to get us 33 grand, which we owed back. In fact, no, we owed 45% of that, but that's another story. So anyway, we owed that, and the office at the time wasn't even worth that, and still probably to this day isn't worth that. And to put you in the picture, the office was about the size of It was a very small room, basically. And half of it was a toilet and a sink. It was basically a small room divided into two. So there's a back porch, and then the other half had, if you can imagine, one side of it had like a desk and that in it, and then the other side had like a little room where there was a toilet, but like a cupboard. I'm hoping the person that's living there now has turned it into a cupboard. I don't know what they would have done. But anyway, so the business was, by 2011, it was falling apart anyways, because we had chosen a job in 2010, which was gonna see us through, really. It was a castle in Ludlow. It was a nice big job, a nice big project. It was going to see us far and wide. It was going to bring investment into the company. Unfortunately, everybody's stomach turned because Jack's whole attitude, once we mentioned the castle, which we shouldn't have done, we had meetings, and in fact his daughter was there, and there's an agenda which we'll show off at some point. In fact, there's going to be a separate report coming out for the castle, which has a picture of Ludlow's castle, and a lot's going to come out because unfortunately, I hate to speak ill of the dead, but Jack's sort of mentioned in this, and his how much he played in the role. But there was a meeting that happened right under Christine Margaret's nose, and I didn't try to stop it, and we had different developers from a different company who we were friends with, so we were having an agency, so they were helping us bring some stock in if we needed it, bricks and sand and stone and all that good stuff. So that basically came in, and so we waited for that to come in. And she, at the time, basically, we were having a meeting, and it was a bit of a tricky day. It was like family stuff was happening. So I'm in one room where there's family stuff happening, and then Jack's trying to sort stuff out with his family. So you've got family stuff going in one room, family stuff going in another room. There's no chance you can sort of just hide away. When they all went, we went into the office, and eruptions happened. Because there was a few people basically said, I think Charles said to me that day, the meetings went fantastically well. I was like, okay, Charles, brilliant. I was like, can anybody elaborate what went on? So as soon as we mentioned the castle, we heard a door that went bang. And I don't know what went on. I was like, Charles, what's happening? Oh, I'll tell you tomorrow. Well, tomorrow came, and I had to go somewhere, so of course we couldn't really speak on that tomorrow. So the following week came. And the following week, me and Charles had an argument because there was two things happening. We had two projects, and I just said to him, look, I said, I'm going to give you the money and the stock just to go to that project. Then the following week, I was like, why is nothing happening? Basically, we were told that we were waiting for the developers to come with a decision. We had to wait for health and safety to do a check, which is what we had to do. And it's like, well, hold on, we've had the go-ahead. So it was 2 weeks off. Then 2 weeks, back on the project. So whenever we mention Ludlow, whenever we mention the castle, it's everybody was okay with it. But it was like, one person said this and another person said that. So we got up to Christmas, and then after Christmas, we were like, the political sort of meeting started, because we'd sit in the back room because it was warmer. And we were having a coffee one afternoon, and we just said, tell you what, why don't we, following week, when we go in the office, why don't we get started on all the orders for the next orders? So I was typing up all the orders, and Jack was a right grump. I mean, it's normal for him to be a grump, and I don't know what I did that day. I got up on time, I got down, I had my breakfast, and la-di-da, and everything was kind of fine. That was a few weeks prior to the incident, which we won't talk of. But I mentioned the castle one week, and he grumbled in the kitchen. So I just think it was like one of those, we're going on about castles, and he never came in once and said, I'd rather if you didn't do this castle. Because he would do that sometimes. He would say, I'd rather if you didn't do it. And that would have been fine. Fine, we would have given the job to somebody else. It would have been, we said that from the get-go. So when we left the company, I'll say it like that, when we left, there were things left unsaid and done. So we had a meeting next door to the place that's now Mind Mob, and basically it was like, where's everybody's job? And it's like, well, it's finished, but I was like, but we've still got the castle, so we need an office. And that was when the beginnings came. Now, I found out a few years ago some home truths, which I'm going to just lay out in this. We did have a few investors that wanted to be a part of the business ages and ages ago. So it brought people back in. And now we've got the company back, there is new jobs happening. And by the way, the castle which we tried to sell, we can't sell because we've still got shareholders. And maybe when our landlord pops his clogs, we can sell it. By the way, he never listens to these YouTube videos, thank the Lord. But if someone is listening to this, they'll go, hang on, isn't that disrespectful to say that? Well, technically, the castle is a burden to us. I mean, who's going to want a castle? But at the moment, it's to and froing. The Mackays sort of don't want to speak to us most of the time because they're a big franchise. And big franchises, once you get a big franchise involved, they can be a pain in the ass, I tell you. It's like we got ideas. Me and Charles want to sit down. In fact, this week we're going to sit down and we're going to say, should we revisit the castle again? I know it's going to be a can of worms that we're going to open. We're going to sit down in the office, we're going to close the door, and we're going to say, let's revisit this project. Because I think it's a money maker. It's like, well, it will put money back into the business, money that we didn't have, technically. And people will throw their hands up and they'll say, yes, we'll invest. You know? I mean, we have got jobs here to do at the yard, so we'll do them as well in between other jobs. But it's like, you know, let's get a few other people on. I mean, we got somebody, somebody to supply overalls, somebody to supply hard hats, somebody to supply boots, paints. You know, we're talking to people now who can supply us things. We never had that back in the day. Because, you know, things were different. But now, you know. And obviously we got MindMob as well, which is a web design company. And when we're there, sometimes we need to talk with, you know, when you've got an empire, you sort of need to look after that empire. And sometimes you need to talk to other people. If you've got a community, yes, you've got all this online stuff, which is great because you can grow. And I still think, looking back in those dark days, I sometimes wish we'd had social media then, because there would have been times when we could have, you know, not involved. I mean, we were doing that in a way. We'd have those moments, but I think it would have been more magical to have just had a community to, you know. And I think to this day, I think that's something that we can turn to, is social media as a last resort. You know, say, hey, you know, somebody got this, and then they can say, well, yes, we've got that. Fine. Oh, well, that's brilliant. You know, and there's actually people now, you realise that if there's something that you believe in, you start doing, and you start, we've got a page on Facebook called the Imaginary Friends blog, which I'll actually finish on a project that I'm doing. But anyway, this is a creative thoughts blog. I don't know why but anyway, I think the pretend and play stuff, when it's coming to this channel, I think we're gonna show what we're doing with the customers. There's actually a pretend database which I'm designing for a pretend insurance company, and I've done a contract up for it. I've drawn up the contract. They've got the contract. They've signed the contract. That's in 6 months. They'll have that. They'll also have the database. But back to the building business, because I've not spoke about the building company for a while, and I've not, and it's kind of got me back in. It's got me flowing. It's got me growing. But I want to talk about an empire first. So where we are now, where we were before, we were on Arnside Road, and we thought we had community spirit, but it was all done over the phone, and the customers that came in had to be through, you know, Jack, and we lost that. So a lot of it was done over the phone and on the internet. And I speak to a lot of people that work like that, and it's not a great way of working. MindMob works like that now because we don't bring customers in the office. We deal with them mostly online and mostly over the phone. So when we've got a job coming in, everybody in the office kind of gets on the phone and works with the customer. And now we're thinking, should we have a solutions company? Should we do, or should we just have a solutions department and we deal with solutions and stuff? You know, who's going to deal with the data and stuff like that? So when we do get a big contract coming in, we can do all the rest of the stuff that we're doing. And there's lots of paperwork to catch up on this year that we didn't do last year. So, and in fact, this week I've got 2 contracts to write and the report to finish. So, and a database to design. So, I literally do have my work cut out. I've shown you the whiteboard the last few weeks, the whiteboard which we normally have all the staff works on. Unfortunately, no one else has used the whiteboard because it's got a full project on it. So it's, you know, it's the first time we've used the whiteboard for doing that. But you know, we've brought and me and Rosemary were trying to discuss a different way of working where we could have you know, because we've got this new toy tablet which I keep putting off reviewing. Well, I don't keep putting off reviewing, it's just one of those things, but it's like I keep meaning to invoice her with a couple of things or send her so many things, but it's like we got a customer coming in next week because they need to pay. They're paying with the card, so we need to bring the card machine in. I've got a few things that need doing, so the office is going to be busy for the next few weeks, which is great because it's the first time I've said that in ages. You know, both offices are going to be busy, both companies are going to be busy, and in actual fact, because I've got the office set up from home, I can actually work here from. And I could work from here, but I don't really want to. And all my YouTube stuff, I want to do away from the house. I've said that several times. I'm actually recording this in my own habitat because this bedroom that I'm in, actually has fantastic audio space for when I do these creative thoughts. So obviously you guys can listen. But I've got great, when I'm doing other things like Mind of a Burger and stuff, I won't be doing that in the house anymore, just because it's going to be more professional for me to work from there. And also I can do Mind Mob, Magic Silver. I can do that every day of the week because we're trying to work virtually. We're trying to prepare ourselves all the time for the future. So I'm telling everybody to try and work as remotely as they can, because it's the best way of working. So if you've got an empire, if you've got two companies, for example, if I'm in the office on Friday morning, I still get builders phoning me from the other company, and I can't refuse their calls. I've still got to answer everybody's questions. And it's the same if the Mind Mob people call me. It's the same because I'm getting a job and it's like, oh wow, so at the end of the week I can go in. It's like I've got the database, and if I've got another project, I can do my next project. And Rosemary's gonna jot down all my projects, so she'll say to me next week, once you've done that, you can do the contract for the next company, or you can write, you've got to write so and so, and then make sure you fax this person by the next week. So when I'm back here, once I'm near the fax machine, I can turn the fax machine on, I can fax people from here, then I can email and send. And so I can give Rosemary some jobs as well, so she's got her work cut out, and then I've got my work cut out from here. Wow, this blog's like the old vlogs that I used to do. Obviously you guys are interested in the business side of things, the business. Now, I get very excited when there's new things coming in, because obviously, but I really want to start. I have got some real stuff that I want to talk about on this vlog. I'm going to talk about it. One is the DJing. A lot of people have asked me questions about that, so I'll talk about that on this vlog very quickly, because this vlog isn't really for that. It's creative thoughts. So we're towards the end now, but before we get there, the database I've already discussed, empire, businesses. This is actually a pretend and play office as well. It's got all that stuff in there. But now some real things. First of all, imaginary friends vlog. I really want to do that, and I kind of want to do it to share all my ideas out there for people, and people keep asking about it now, because I've shared it out there. So I'm doing a gallery project, and hopefully there will be a few YouTube videos for that, and hopefully if people are up for it, maybe we can do, I don't know, a few bits and pieces. So there's places that we're going for that. And hopefully We got the people in the imagination station. I call it the nursery, but they're around the corner. And we kind of, the Facebook page, but the WordPress blog will be a more important place to work, a more important place to do the literacy side of things, the literacy. The Facebook page was kind of, people can brush over it and they can go, oh yeah, such and such is happening. It gives the soap opera side of things. And I was talking to a friend of my sister's last night about the imaginary friends. She's like, oh wow, and it's like it does amaze people, but then it's like the Facebook page it's more of a soap opera side of things. It's more kind of the day-to-day, which the WordPress blog's about as well, but the WordPress blog will have a bit more kind of a bit more things, just my imagination in total, so you can sort of get a view of my world. Probably a few imaginary friends that I haven't mentioned, or their friends that I haven't mentioned, or what they're doing, and people can get a look into that world if they wish. Whereas the Facebook page is just based on the very few, it's based on Andy and Charles and Adam and Rosemary, so the people that I hang around with, but it's not based on all the other people. They might put certain things in, like, might get, Andy's gone with Reese, and so it's like based on, it just gives you a little overview. It's not the full thing. I think people want more, but I've created a WordPress blog, so that's where that is. And hopefully this YouTube channel will have a bit more on that side. So and obviously it's going to help people, and helps myself as well. Sometimes you got to help yourself with everything, physically, mentally, and all the pretend and play stuff, which I want to finish on one more thing. Like, this copper stuff, right? These videos will not be made for kids. They'll be made for everybody. So, if we have an adult themes video, we might just say in the video, please make sure you watch it with your parents or whatever, if they stumble across it. But hopefully, a lot of that educational content will make sure. I mean, it's like a lot of people do ask about how I deal with things, so it's kind of I've dealt with things through the imaginary friends. A few things have happened, and anyway, I'm gonna go because it's quite late, and this video will be coming out a day after, or probably the end of the week if I haven't managed to do so, but I really don't want to do that, so I'm hoping this will come out on Monday. I'm recording this on the Sunday, but hopefully it will come out on the Monday. And if anybody has got any questions they want to ask about anything I've mentioned in this, about imaginary businesses, imaginary friends, anything, just please ask in the comments, and keep the comments respectful. Cheers. I'll see you guys in the next vid.